I don't know what kind of expectations you all have after all those accolades, but you know what? We're pretty much going to make this interactive and easy on everybody, including myself. So good afternoon here in the East Coast. Good evening, I guess, have a few people come dialing from Nigeria and other countries, the UK, etc. American and I were in the same time zone. He's in Canada, and American has been a buddy before I got married, and I've been married 25 years this year, so 25 plus years we've known each other, and his beautiful wife, Diana. But thank you for this platform, and thanks for everyone that has joined so far. And again, for a lot of people that have joined and know me well, you know that I like to give, and I see this afternoon as yet another opportunity to give. So let's look at it this way. I don't like being on the hot seat, although I don't like everyone looking at me necessarily. I do have something to offer, but let's look at it this way. Let's say that we're all in a classroom, okay? And I just happen to be the teacher's pet.
Okay.
And the teacher says, come up and talk to everybody else in the classroom. So I'm still a student.
Okay, okay.
Is that good?
That's right.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. So, and that student who's just sitting wherever, front, back, it doesn't matter. So I'm a student, just like all other 29 people are, or 28 people are. But I'm going to share some thoughts. And I love what Naked has been doing over these past few years. He's pretty much stuck to his vision. Because we're really close friends, I know that it's not been easy, but he's stuck with that vision. We had a meeting before the meeting. It's always nice to dial in early. So we dialed in just to do mic checks and chit chats. And that was very eye-opening for me because I learned a few things, and I would change my script a little bit because of course I got prepared for this, but just in interacting with Anirkan and Soji and Lois at Boye, who joined early, some things came out I'm going to share. But pretty much the scope of what I want to share with you today is around being intentional. I'm sure we've all heard that word again and again, but have maybe tried to be intentional more, or maybe not. And also, this will resonate with a couple of people on the call, and it's taking action expeditiously. Before the pandemic, I was just looking at some decks that I have in my computer, and I noticed that. So I'm a part of a number of WhatsApp groups, as I'm sure we all are, especially these days. And one of them is a WhatsApp group that's for my elementary school many years ago. And we started talking, and then I introduced something called being intentional. And I talked to them, I made a deck. And that was, I just looked at the date, and it was 12/31/2019. It's quite interesting how these things happen. The pandemic hit, it was obvious to us by the first quarter, right, of 2020. So I did this deck. It was a PowerPoint presentation in December of 2019, and it was about being intentional. And then I got an opportunity to speak on a platform like this, a friend of mine, in June of the year of the pandemic, the year that the pandemic started. And I sort of revised the deck on being intentional. Being intentional continues to stay relevant. But I'm going to try to, in the time that we have, I know I don't have all the time because I know I'm going to make this as interactive as possible. I'm going to try to get some nuggets, use Coach Aniakin's words, some nuggets from the deck that I created. But I also want us to dive into that word expeditious. Somebody's smiling, I know. And how relevant that is in goal setting and achieving our destiny, our targets, our vision, our mission, whatever that may be. But I also want to say something very unapologetically, and I don't want to sound assertive. I tend to be, but I try to tone it down because this is not even my platform. I was invited, so I need to tone it down a little bit. But I want to say something. You might hear me say, in the course of speaking to you, I was led, my husband and I were led to do something or the other. You may be able to relate to that, or you may not. Now, my leading comes from the Holy Spirit. This is not, you already went to church today for those who are Christians, but I have to say this because there's nothing I do. I'm sorry about that. There's nothing I do that's in and of myself. It's the grace of God. I want to set that stage now so that I don't get back into, preaching on you and all that during, I'm not going to do that because I have a few nuggets that I have to get out there. But I want you to understand that and appreciate that. And I'm not imposing anything on you. So once we have that straight and you understand that everything I'll share is the grace of God, and all the leadings that I get are by the Holy Spirit. Let's leave that alone, and let's now get into nuggets for successful lifestyle, goal setting, and all that good stuff. Are we good?
Yes, we are.
All right. So what I want to say, before the meeting, something came out, and that we cannot talk amongst ourselves today without talking about masks or COVID-19. I mean, we just really cannot. That has to be included in what we talk about, whether we like it or not. I'm going to talk about it being intentional first, and then I'll talk about the word expeditious. And I just want to pull out some keywords on it being intentional. And remember that we're trying to kind of laser focus into being intentional and taking action expeditiously. We're still all thinking about visions. We're thinking about goals, of which I do realize that with the pandemic, many people's visions and goals have been distorted, disrupted, interrupted, destroyed perhaps. But in that destruction that you may think that you have experienced, there's still hope. You can regroup. You can bounce back, okay? But there has to be a very high level of intentionality as you do that. So I'm going to share some definitions about the definition. I got this from the internet. I love the internet. I love Google. I know it's not always correct, but it's a good resource. But intentional, done on purpose. I'm sure that's like one of the more obvious definitions that we all know. And then some synonyms are calculated, conscious, intended, planned, meant. I meant to do this, right? Knowing. There's something that we've all heard, I'm sure at some point in time or another, and says nothing just happens, right? Has anybody heard that said before? Nothing just happens. It's true, nothing just happens. There's some cliches or some things that people say, if you Anika will know this well, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Right. So really nothing just happens. You need to be, whether you were here today or you were not, or you even understood that a word like intentional existed, you need to be intentional about getting to your goal. Because you can't just arrive at your goal. Well, if you do, I once learned that if you do, it's interesting. Some people just happen at success, success just happens, you think. If you do not know how you got there, you can't repeat it. Make sense? So you just got there by whatever reason. You just, it's really rare because there must have been some steps that you took that were intentional. So, having said that, I want to focus in on a few things. I'm saying this because I invited a number of people. I invited my nephew, I invited my nieces, I invited people who are, so on this call today, there is a wide range of, so there's millennials, baby boomers, zillennials. Have you heard that word before, Anikan? So it's like a borderline millennial and Gen Z. I heard that recently.
Oh yeah?
Zillennials. Has anybody heard that before? So anyway, you're all here on this platform, Gen X, and all those different categories of people, right? But the truth of the matter is that there's one key thing. Oh, I must commend all of you, as a matter of fact. To even be here today, you were intentional. And you did act expeditiously. You did not procrastinate.
That's right.
You didn't say, oh, I'll just do the next one. I'll just log in at 3. They'll still be there anyway. After all, Anikan originally comes from Africa, so they'll do African time. So I'll just catch them at 3, right? Right? Somebody, yeah, I know. Somebody said that. But anyway, so you're here now. I want to focus in on one area that is important to be intentional about. I know you're not going to be expecting this because we're talking about goal setting and nuggets, etc. But Anikan also said that this month is talking about health, and I want to zoom in a little bit about how intentional we can be in that space. I'm not a doctor, even though I was trying to be a doctor. I'm so glad I didn't. I had my bachelor's in zoology and should have gone on to do medicine, and I'm so glad I did not, because I can't stand blood. I can't even, if my daughter has a cut, it's like, yeah. So I'm in my calling. I'm very happy. So I'm not a doctor, but I want to zoom in a little bit because I know that in as much as there's a wide range of people here, health is one thing that we have in common, right? So whether you're a Gen Z or a baby boomer or whatever, but it gets a little more, I want to say, for one of a better word, more urgent or more critical as we get older, right?
That's right.
So my husband and I were talking, we're pretty much patting ourselves on the back recently, that because in very recent times, we've done a lot of wellness checks. So nothing, we're not sick or anything, but we've just done what you need to do when, you know, you're 50 and plus, you need to do some things, right? So,
right.
yeah, so we've been very, very compliant in doing those things. And I would like to admonish you and not be your mother or anything about this, but I'd like to encourage everyone to be more intentional about, and I have some bullets here, and I said, be more intentional about your physicals, but we call it physicals in America. I don't know what call it anywhere else, but wellness checks. So I'm not saying you're sick or anything, you know, rest, exercise. I'm also not saying that I am the guru of all these things, because, you know, we're all getting better every day. So especially the exercise bit, but exercise, vacation. Doesn't take money to go on vacation, so don't even start. Don't do that. Vacation, okay? Vacation can be just leaving your computer in your home office and going to the basement or to another room to binge on Netflix. Yeah, because then you're not all, make sense? Vacation, and then COVID-19 vaccines. I'm not saying you must take it. People are still saying maybe not, maybe yes, I will. I'm still thinking, I think they're just experimenting. I'm not trying to convince you about anything, but do what's good for you, your family, and your legacy. Make sense? So be intentional about your health is all I'm trying to say. Because see this hustle that we're hustling? Because I know that one common thing that we have, all of us that are here, have a goal, a business, we want to start one, we want something better for ourselves, for our families, right? I'm sure there's that commonality amongst all of us. The reason we're here to hear what who has to say is because we want to learn, right? I want to learn, and that's why I want to make it as interactive as we can, so that I can hear from others and just not be the one that's speaking and talking. Because if you know me well, I can talk from now until whenever about things that I'm passionate about, you know, because I am passionate about what I do. So having said that, I want to leave this whole intention. I'm not going to flog or get us on the health side, but I know you've heard. He who has ears, let him hear on that part. The reason it's so important is because this hustle that we're all hustling and these goals that we're all trying to get to, the health needs to be in place, correct?
That's right.
For us to even achieve those goals. Good. So I'm glad that, is it Health Month everywhere, or is just you, Adekan, that's doing Health Month?
I believe it's Health Month internationally.
Oh, okay. I somehow don't keep a tab of those things. Did you guys notice that? Do you get those emails and pop-ups or notifications that say today is Best Friends Day, tomorrow is Sisters Day? Who created those things? Anyway, that's an aside. But yeah. So anyway, Health Month by American standards or by the world standards, whatever it is, Health Month needs to be every month, really, you know. So please, let's leave it, let's put it aside, but I hope you heard something, and I hope you will do what you need to do. I have my dear dentist friend here. I'm not going to preach on that either, but you know, you think that healthcare or wellness checks are only physical in terms of doctor side of things. Oral health is extremely important, but I just threw that out for Shadi. Dr. A, my friend. So anyway, having said that, and we now know that all of us will be compliant, we promise to be, we'll be intentional about our health. I want us also to be, I have some bullets here on other areas that we can be intentional in, and it would really help us in achieving the goals that we set, which, by the way, I'm not going to put anybody on the spot. I don't have to, you know, give a thumbs up or anything in the chat box. But every January 1st, I'm sure it's like recalibrate, right? It's over the years, it's been that. Oh, I gained all the weight, but January 1st, I'm going to lose the weight, or I'm going to make $1 million, or whatever it is, right? I know you, I can see you. I know who did that. But anyway, so but I'm going to give you just bullets because time is up. I can't say everything. So fellowship, family, fitness, friendships, and finances. Why do they all start with F? So you remember, right? So let's try to be intentional with focus on those areas, okay? That would help, because I tell you the truth of the matter, in trying to achieve your goals, if you don't have family straight, it will be a distraction. If you don't have fellowship straight, or health straight, fitness, it will be a distraction. And there are many distractions to achieving your goals. I'm going to jump into, and I noticed that in talking about it, being intentional for health, I'm sort of zooming into personal, but there's also being intentional in the things that you do for your business. I want to assume there is entrepreneurism, there's a word like that, in every person. So in every human, I believe that there is something that you can birth. You don't know, you may not know. It may not be to the magnitude that your neighbor's vision is. So that's why I always encourage people to run your own cause, okay? So this is my lane. This is Anyekan's lane. I'm not even trying to be Coach Anyekan, you know what I mean? We talked the meeting before the meeting, we talked about collaborations. That's where we can pretty much articulate all our strengths, right? So Anyekan was talking about the new economy. I'm not digressing, it's all linked. He was talking about the new economy, which is, I guess is a word that he kind of coined, which will be the economy after COVID is done. When is COVID really done? You know, and can we just pause and wait for COVID to be done? Or what are we doing now? You know, there's a saying that says, make hay while the sun shines. So while things are happening or not happening.
That's right.
Right. So there's also, we also know that in times of adversity, many people thrive. Okay. So that's not to say that we're happy there's adversity, because I mean, hey, people will thrive regardless. Okay.
Right.
So what happens now? What do we do now? And I want to say something before I continue. I'm not when I come on this, of which I don't do many, when I come on a Zoom call, I'm not always the one talking, but I can see many things in the chat box, and please, if they're directed at me, I'm not looking, because it's all, this whole Zoom thing is still, people like Anekan know how to do all this whole, yeah, so Anekan, I hope you got it, because I'm not looking. I'm just looking at you guys. Is that okay?
That's okay. We have someone that's managing
that does that.
If there's a question, Bibi will let us know.
Oh, you guys, you're a big boy. You got like everything in place. I like that.
We're talking collaboration, Ngozi. So it's knowing that you can't do everything together. I have two people on the call who are managing that. Mish is one, Bibi is one, so that they can be the one that will. So if the questions come up and we need to give answers, we can come into that. Now, you mentioned something that I want to kind of throw out to everyone else. We talked about rest, because to be intentional about your health is you have to kind of price it above everything else. Some of us have this notion that, don't worry, when I get that thing done, then I can look about my health. And it's putting the cart before the horse, because your health is what drives everything else. If your health is out of whack, everything around you suffers. Your family will, your business will, your finances will come under that weight. So you don't want to get in the position where your health is compromised. So you need to look about that now. Now, that doesn't mean go and enroll in a gym. It can simply mean something like resting. When it's time to sleep, sleep. If you're walking and your body feels like, hey, listen, let's take a nap, pause it. Go take a nap. Learn to listen to your body more as it is now, because a lot of times your body is where you're housed in now, and that's your firepower. That's your house. That's where you'll be able to do everything else.
Now you said something. Sorry to cut you short, but I want to just piggyback on what you said about if you need to take a nap, take a nap. Now I'm throwing this out there because we want to interact with this. Not everybody here. I can take a nap in the middle of the day because I'm flexy and I have pretty much been very intentional about how things happen, so I can plan accordingly. But what about somebody who has to drive? I know this is maybe not happening now, but some people still go to the office. So who's getting a paycheck from some employer and they're grinding and they have to drive from home to the office and they are sleepy at 2 p.m. They do not have the luxury that you and I perhaps have of taking that nap.
Okay. Now, so there's two approaches to that. First of all,
understand that.
I want you to think like this, that whatever I'm doing now, I'm looking to transition into running something that I can control. Because you can't run like this for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Now, what happens is, I had a friend, interestingly, who used to take what he calls power nap. Now, he used to drive heavy duty machinery, so he drives truck. When that time comes in the afternoon during his break, he will just park, lock the car, and for 30 minutes he will take a nap. By the time he wakes up, his body is all refreshed. So taking a nap doesn't mean going to sleep for 3 hours. It means shutting down for that period of time where your body just comes into alignment, into sync. I want to rest. Yoga is one thing that does that for a lot of people very well. When your body is in alignment, rest would be easy. It doesn't have to be quality, it becomes quantity of rest. So you can still rest. Because remember that if you run this job and you can't come, the employer will employ somebody else. So you have to look for ways, and guess what? We always would have ways. Someone said that where there's a willing heart, there's 1,000 ways. Ways for you to be able to rest. If rest is priority in your schedule, you have to understand that. That's it. That's it.
You know. What's so cool about that, and as it even relates to being intentional. Mm-hmm. For those who know me well, my other nationality, I mean, not officially, is Chinese. Because for those who also know me well, you know that I like to do business. I like, I love to generate revenue. I don't love money, but I love to generate. I like, to do things that would, you put in this and you bring that out, and there's benefits. And I'm also very particular about mutual benefits. So we have a lot of affiliations with Chinese companies. You all know that no matter what you want to say about China, don't even try me. Don't even. Yeah, it's a very, very interesting subject, very sensitive matter for me. So if you start downing Chinese and all that, don't know, I'm not there. So it's all positive for me. Everybody has their issues. So let's where I'm going is that they're very intentional about naps during the workday. So it's official. I mean, the first time I went to China about many years ago, 7 years ago, whatever, a meeting was stopped. I mean, like, we couldn't have a meeting because it was nap time in a big company. And I was like, what is this? You understand what I'm saying? So it's in their culture, but you guys also know that they work like horses. And they are super productive people, but vacation time, holiday time, and they have a lot of holidays, which are very, very intrusive and disruptive to our business here sometimes, because we're just not ready. You're like, some festival, you understand? But okay, there's intentionality there. And we need to learn from people like that. And it was the meeting we had before the meeting. I know a lot of you next time will probably dial in at 1:40. It was the meeting we had before the meeting. I took some notes. And you can say that there's a place, a colony or a province in Canada where Indians are very dominant. It didn't just happen. And did you say the mayor is Indian? Like
everything that is power broker there it's Indian controlled.
There had to be some intentionality there, right? Yes, somebody say something. This is not a dialogue; it's a multi-log. All of us log. So if anybody wants to jump in at any point in time before I jump into Expeditious, because I know that I'm looking at the clock as well. But it didn't just happen. Once upon a time Indians are not of. Canada is not Indian. You know what I mean? So once upon a time, if you rewind, those guys were not there, but they had a plan. So being intentional about how we structure our lives in achieving our goals and not getting distracted is so key. Now, it's wonderful and such a blessing to have the right people in your lives. And that's why I talked about fellowship, friendships, family. Because I tell you, if you get those pieces wrong, you will be derailed. You will have someone who's just, all you're doing during the pandemic is having a pity party. And, bless, you guys please understand that I definitely, my heart goes out to people who lost their families, and I'm very emotional. So lost their family members and people during the pandemic. However, I'm sure those people wouldn't want you to be throwing people, because you can do what you can do to prevent, that kind of thing continuing, right? So what are you doing now and during the pandemic? Do you want to surround yourselves intentionally with the people who will say, come on now, hey Rose, hey Shalinge, Lois, Zeze, let's do it. What are we doing? It's pandemic time. I heard, how can we take advantage of this? Not in a bad, not advantage of the, you know what I mean? But what can we do so that we're not just pity partying throughout 2020? Who would have known, guys, that in 2021, the first quarter just finished, and we're still wearing masks, we're still social distancing, even though a friend of mine says that even after all this is done, one thing that you would like to remain is the social distancing, because some people, they'll be crowding you in a store. They'll be, so if we can keep the social distancing, that would be a good outcome from this pandemic. But let me jump into the expeditious part of things and just share a story that hopefully would bless you, and we can make it a little more interactive, because we have a very quiet group today. We've let you guys know that you can jump in anytime, interrupt Nick and I anytime, please. And then Bibi, that's helping too, can maybe throw out some of the questions so that we can, go look at someone else's perspective. I learned that in church today, so we can see what's happening, from someone else's perspective. So, thank you, Dr. Anderson. So, in being expeditious, I'm going to do that. Can I just say just a few things about that? We can tie it into the intentionality, tie it into the goal setting, and I would love to hear from others, because even from the people that I invited, I can see that there are just too many people from many walks of life. The people, there's male, there's female, there's younger, there's older, the different time zones, countries. So I really feel like there's a wealth, Anakin, of information on this platform today. There's 35 people. That's a lot of knowledge, and I would love to hear from others. Like I said, I'm just the teacher's pet today, right? So I'm still a student, and I would love to learn.
Okay, let's do this. Why don't we do this? Okay, why don't we kind of, I saw a question, and I'm just going to see if we can bring that in. But please, we just don't want any dead air. We want to keep this as interactive. There's no one body of knowledge. So it's not maybe Ngozi or myself or someone else trying to, tell you. We're saying to you, hey, listen, this is what we're seeing. What are you seeing? And how can we marry those perspectives together and be positioned for the days ahead? Now, someone asked a question. He said, what do we do now during this COVID era? And they threw that question at you, Ngozi, because they said, Ngozi, what are the things we can look at doing now during this COVID era? I'll let you give that a try. Please, it's not a question for Ngozi, it's a question for every one of us. So if there's something please go ahead and push that out. Just unmute yourself.
I'm going to say something, and I'm really smart. God has blessed me with some wits. So I'm going to pass it. I'm going to remind Anakin of something he said in the meeting before the meeting, and I know I've referred to that quite a bit. And I'm also going to want to hear from others, but there's no one size fits all.
Okay.
And remember when I started in the beginning, I gave my background and I said I'm led by the Holy Spirit, in all that I do. So those ideas and concepts and insights keep on flowing. And that's how my husband and I roll in our business. And that's how come we've grown to the point that we are and still growing, okay? So, but it's a good question. Why? Because you even want to do something.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm going to commend whoever asked that question. Because, it's really, think about it. It's not easy to just have a business idea that would work. Anakin, we've been on this journey many years.
That's right.
All those things that Anakin read about me, they're all nice and dandy, but truth of the matter is he didn't say that Ngozi has succeeded and Ngozi has failed and she's succeeded again and then she's bounced back and she's failed and he didn't say that part, but there is that part.
That's right.
Okay, so that you even want to know what to do is commendable. Anakin, I will throw this word out, and that word is collaboration. Why? Because you who asked that question have a desire to do something. You may not know what the thing is, and you may not even know how to draw out what you have. People like Anyekan is a coach. I don't do that for a living. I can mentor and do all that, but I don't, that's not what I do for a living. I also have another friend, Vin, who's on the line, who's a coach, and I'm sure there might be other coaches, you know. But people like that would, I'm not gonna, you know, you probably analyze what people have, their strengths, and do SWOT analysis and all that good stuff, and connect them with the right, you know. A lot of times my husband and I, we have some divine hookups. You don't even want to know how that works. That's confidential, but we have some divine hookups. But that's the kind of thing networking such as this does. So you who asked that question, please, somebody else, say something. The reason I'm saying that is because whenever we come to groups, I don't do a lot of this kind of calls, but I'm very, very action-oriented. I don't like to have, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little overpassionate now, but I don't like to have a room full of 35 people. And like I told you, my nephew who's in his 20s is on this call. People who are in their 50s and their 40s and whatever are on this call. I don't like to leave calls like this without, and it's not by force. It's not that you must connect with someone necessarily, but I don't like us to come back again another time and we're still talking about the same thing. Nobody connected, nobody collaborated. It's not possible. Even if you did the numbers, the algorithm around the numbers that are here, something must click. But again, sorry guys, am I yelling? Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry, I'm so sorry. But you know, when I'm getting passionate, but again, that's what I'm talking about, being intentional and taking action expeditiously. I know I've jumped, but we'll come back to this person that asked this question. Does it make sense? Who am I? I was on a call, guys, one day. Vin, my friend, invited me on one call because we do this thing. We try to, you know, help each other and listen to the right people. And I'm there. I do this when I'm not talking. Like if I was not on the one talking, I'll be on the participants list and I'll be looking at names. I'm just giving you a hint. And I saw some lady who was in some country that I would love to do business in. Yes, she's on. I mean, hey, I saw the area code and I sent an inbox message to her personally. I said, what are you? Oh, you're in this country? What do you do there? Do you understand what I'm saying? I acted expeditiously. That didn't necessarily lead to anything, but it could have. Make sense? So somebody else say something about what, you know, some people might have ideas on what you can do, collaborate, do some things that are worthy of these times and seasons. But yeah, go ahead.
Good day, everybody.
Hi.
I'm so excited. I've been Ngozi here. She's on fire.
Sorry.
And that's just beautiful. I think the passion is what's oozing out. Now, on the issue of what to do at this time, like you said, we can't go on a pause button and say we're going to wait till the clouds are gathered. You know, we can't wait till the sun is shining and it's high. But I think one of the things you could do is to look first at what you're going through. Most times as human beings, we want to look at it and say, oh, things have stopped, business is not moving, or one idea is not working, a goal is not achieved. For me personally, I'd also say suddenly that probably it was opportunity for something else to be done. Because looking at what was before pre-COVID, a lot of things were just out there, were running. The whole world were just running and in haste. And COVID had slowed us down. Everybody had to pause for a while. For me, some things weren't working out immediately, but I found out I had more time for other things. And like you said, being led and, you know, having that intuition and the help of the Holy Spirit, sometimes we struggle with that, with those kind of leadings. Oh, I don't think this is the best. I want to do this. But when this kind of events come up, you are stopped in your track. You have no choice but to stop and then look again, you know, and then you're saying, okay, maybe this is the high time to just get this done. I personally am into something else that I wouldn't have probably just gone into just before the COVID. So let me just try it. And now it's easier to manage because I'm not way too, you know, buried in work as the fact will have been if, you know, for COVID. And that's looking at it and say, okay, why is the shining lining in this? Why is this bright lining in this cloudy times? So I would encourage people, look out. There's something about it. There's something within this gloom they're still going to be shining, they're still bright. There's still an opportunity. Secondly, for me, it's forced me to meet new people and then begin to dwell totally in a totally different connection entirely from what I normally would have gone for. My industry, I've been so sold out to it. I want to face that. But now I'm looking left, right. I'm meeting new people. I'm seeing opportunities around me and willing to take them and training to take them. So what do we do? Remember, it's not the end of the world. As long as you're alive, look around you. There's something out there that has been calling it for you, has been waiting for you all the while. And this might just be the right time to pay attention to it. Thank you. I think Tom has something to say. Go on, Tom.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ngozi, for the well-made speech. It has, in fact, it's as if the speech is really directed to me, because most of your analyses are actually related to my lifestyle. We're talking about working and not resting, talking about being intentional. It hasn't been that easy. But one thing that came to my mind while you were talking is that many people are full of ideas. We learn from time to time. We meet, we talk. We have trainers, we have coaches that keeps us going. But many of us don't take action, though we are intentional. We feel that, okay, these things are necessary, but we don't take action. Probably it's because of the fear of unknown, or maybe somebody has been intentional and had taken action, but failed along the line. Many people should, I'm only saying this because of what I've just gathered. What I feel is that even though we fail, we still need to rebuild our courage and retry again. Intentionality, from what I could gather from what you have said, is that no matter the rigors, hurdles, hiccups on the way, we just need to summon up courage and take action. Because I just looked around and I realized that many people that we call great men today started from somewhere. And it's because they are really intentional. They took up courage to be who they are. And I can see that we call them great because they are not relenting in their efforts. To many of us, these words are, the things we have heard today could be like a regular story, a regular words we've been hearing. But the major thing is for us to take action. Like the question that one of the participants asked, he said that, sorry, let me just open the chat. That was actually what made me bring about this anyway. He said, the question is, sorry, I'm trying to track it. He said, how has intentionality served you well in your business? Do you have any example to share? I don't have a business, but I work as in I work and earn a paid job. I realized that many of us at work are given targets in sense of reporting, in sense of our daily activities. Okay, this is the structure of this organization, do this. We tend to carry out those jobs and we execute them mostly perfectly. Now, let's now relate it to our personal lives. In what business are we doing? What can we do that can make that business successful? It's a matter of sitting down, analyzing, and then take action. Many of us have the ideas, we have all the instruments, we have all the tools for our business to do well, but we don't take action. We don't take the right action. So I'll employ us. I don't know what you might be going through, but one thing is that in the way your business can serve you well is be determined and take courage. Let me give an example. I'm sorry, I'm taking time. If coach, we are together in a room and coach will say, okay, can somebody come for this 100 or 1,000 naira, 1,000 US bill, dollar bill, as in a note, sorry, we could get up. Somebody amongst us might just get up and say, no, I'll go for it. Others might be like, does coach really want to give us? Can we earn it? What is he trying to tell us with this $100 he's trying to give us? And the person that takes up that step will earn the money. This means that in your business, you can see what others are doing, but you need to strategize properly in the execution of it. Now, going back to my story, if you eventually get up and collect the money, it's because you are intentional and you have taken action. Any other person could have earned that same money, but it's because at that time, though they were intentional, but they did not take action. So we need to focus on our purpose in life, take a meaningful step, and for business to grow, you just need to execute, your business plan, take all the necessary steps and strategize properly and know how to do it. The way business A is run is different from the way business B is run. But intentionality serves with action. You don't just you are not just intentional sitting down, but the action to make it work is essential. Thank you.
Yeah, before another question, Ngozi, please, I'd like to take that question as a brother. How has intentionality served you well in your business personally? And do you have an example you can share? I think why the person is asking is you're looking like a role model already, those things you're doing. I'm sure it's so catchy. And the person would like to know how has that served you well? And some example from you. Thanks.
I want to comment to him first, and Bibi, thanks for that, and thanks, Dr. Anderson, for that question. It's I know that the response will really be a blessing in people's lives. But Tom, I want to commend you for what you just said, and it's interesting that, and I'm going to say something. I'm going to challenge you, Tom. You said that you're not a business person, you're earning a salary, and then, did you hear what you said? Did you hear you, Tom? Do you understand? I want to encourage you because I want to be heard you. You know what I mean? You have a lot in you because you see those two pieces. God really gave me these two words because pre-COVID, I got this whole revelation on intentional, right? It's not new, but it came to me. It was like now my eyes were open. And then during COVID, in COVID, Expeditious came about, right? And Tom kept on saying something like, we have been intentional, but we don't take action. It's not even, there's one more step, Tom, and I do encourage you to look on the inside of you, maybe get a coach or someone who can draw out some more stuff from you, because you got stuff, girl. You got stuff. You have a vision on the inside of you. You may not know, so maybe you talk to Coach Anyekin afterwards. But the part that you missed in that statement that you said was we're intentional, but we don't take action. You could even take action, but not expeditiously. I'm going to answer Dr. Anderson's question, the first part that says, how have I been intentional in my business? And secondly, I'm going to give you a story about being expeditious, and you better be expeditious after this call, guys, in taking action. Intentionality pretty much is just, it's one of those pillars that our business stands on, just doing things. You can't be explaining something, I'm using the same word, right? So doing things intentionally, that's not going to help anybody. So what has happened in our business is, and we don't have too much time to talk about the genesis and where this all started, but we started with nothing. okay? And I'm talking about this business that we have now. We've had successfully for 3 years, and we're growing organically. One great area, one beautiful area of intentionality that we had, to answer that question directly, was to grow a business. And this may sound like a huge number. You can call your own number. To grow $1 billion, and this is not just a cliche, this is not just a, you know, to grow $1 billion company organically. Organically, that's the key word, and that's where I want to tie in intentionality. That is one area that my husband and I have said we will grow organically. What does that mean? We're going to take it baby steps, one baby step at a time, yet going towards that big goal. So we're not in a hurry. We're not looking at somebody else and trying to be somebody else. We know where we're going. We're going to be very intentional about that journey. And no matter what comes, which, guys, man, if you have a whole day to sit down and listen to our story, I will tell you about the obstacles. Just thinking about them, sometimes I'm like, there is a God. So being intentional in our business has been pretty much, we will grow organically and we will not be distracted. That's the very short version to answer that question. Now I want to tell you one story about being expeditious. I'm going to list, I think I can wrap it up there, and then we can leave Coach Onyeka to do what he needs to do, or other people to come in. So please hold on to that. I want you guys to go away, you know, when you talk about learning outcomes, go away with these two things. Let intentionality continue to resonate in your minds, your spirits, in your brains, in your lives. But I'm going to say something that hopefully will be like a thunderbolt, okay, for you concerning expeditious action. Expeditious, so Tom has said, but we don't take action. The higher level of that is we need to take action expeditiously. So if there's anything that has ministered to your spirit or your heart, or has a word has come, or maybe something from, I haven't had the benefit of looking at the chat, or maybe somebody has said something and there's an action on your part that needs to take place, please act expeditiously. Or perhaps expeditious is such a huge word. Another, a synonym, I didn't look at Google for this one, but I'm so passionate about that word, is now for those that speak Nigerian English. It is quick. It's sharp for those who speak Nigerian slang. It's quick, fast, and in a hurry for the American version. It's let's get it done now, today. Like literally. Oh, you know, I just got a nice love note from my husband, who is my business partner, and I don't know, why wouldn't he say it to you guys? He says, remind them to stop being afraid of failure. Thank you, hubby. You guys hear that? Yeah, he said, remind them. Okay, so you hold that one. But on Expeditiously, I want to tell you a true life story, okay? And then I'll stop, and then we can, yeah. So, TQBM, you can check us out online. As a government, you know, you've heard all that, what Onyeka said. So we're government contractors, US government contractors. I can't give you details, but I'm going to give you very high level on what would help you. From taking expeditious action, from acting expeditiously, okay? In 2020, during the pandemic, when things were hard, tight. For a business person, you know what that perhaps means. No money to run your business. That just, what are you going to do? Some people on the call today know exactly where we were, right? So at that point in time, I could just have been like this, virtually, like doing that in my head, or really just like this at my desk, okay? At that time, and I'm saying this for a reason, it was a $10 desk that we had purchased in 2018 from an office in the States. We have this office disposing of furniture, still looking good and everything, but you know, when you're starting up, you better start small and you better grow organically, just throwing that out for somebody. So I'm sitting at the $10 desk and I'm like, but what did my husband just say now? Remind them to stop being afraid of failure. I stayed there. An email. You guys, are you listening? Sorry if I'm sounding really assertive. For those who know me, it's just passion. I love you guys. I'm not trying to be your mommy or mother hen or anything, but I'm just extremely passionate.
We love it too while we're
comes
listening.
Ezzy knows what I'm talking about. Mo, that's on the call, knows what a lot about. Rose, my cousin, knows what I'm talking about. You also know that I'm emotional, and if I talk too much, more than 5 minutes now, I'll probably cry. But let me just tell you this. In the midst of that time when it was hopeless, an email, guys, came in. What do you do with your email? And that's why sometimes I don't necessarily follow the things that we learn by the books. That's why you cannot, I'm speaking for myself, I've got to be led by the Holy Spirit. You know how we say, check your email, only whatever, so you don't get distracted, check your email only, I don't know what people say. They've said many things, only twice a day, in the morning and the evening. I'll be checking my email off like all the time, especially when you're hungry. You're hungry for success, you're hungry, you can't fail anymore, it's enough failure. You'll be checking your WhatsApp, it's true, because really, outside of that, what would I be doing? Nothing, you're still looking for money, right? So I check my email diligently. Maybe not as much now, because I'll be chilling now. I'm in a place of chilling now, guys. It's a beautiful place to be. And I'm not even, yes. But at that time, I'm saying this, I looked at that email, guys. I clicked on that email, guys, like a few minutes before it came in. Guys, listen to me. A few minutes after the email came, I clicked on it because I was constantly checking. I could have looked at it and said, this. And it was a request for something that we don't necessarily supply. But I was hungry and I was intentional. So I got wisdom and I responded immediately. I'm not going to teach you, there's some email etiquette around what I did that's really good to know, but I can teach you that offline and all that. I can't say everything here. But that single expeditious action, guys, landed us major contracts. Don't worry about the numbers, but trust me, major contracts. Leave that major contracts out of the picture so you don't get all clouded with what the numbers are and all that. Don't be distracted. What I'm zooming in on right now, do you realize how many people got that email? The circulation, they didn't BCC them. They didn't blind copy them. I saw the email went to like 400 or something. I'm telling you, because when I look at emails, I look to see who sent it, where's it, I know how to reply and all that. And let me just teach you one little thing, but that's just for free. Let me throw it out there. When I responded to them, I removed everybody else. I made sure I was responding only to the people that came from the government agency. But I responded less than an hour after they sent that email, guys. It landed us major contracts and credibility. I'll stop there. Had I not, my husband and I were saying to ourselves that, but here's another thing about life, guys. Do you realize that if you don't take expeditious action, you will never know what you missed? Have you thought about that? You would never know. How would we have known what we could have missed? The room went quiet. So why won't you just take expeditious action? Just in case it works out in your favor. And again, I'm going to stop because I am. But you didn't get anything from that. So let me just wrap it up in 15 seconds. Be intentional. Don't be moved by every wave and every trend and have your own course. Stop looking at people. Stop looking at your neighbor. Stop looking at your classmates. Leave it alone. Your vision, the God, or wherever you got your vision from, focus on it through thick and thin. Wherever there's nobody, whatever, just stick with it, right? Take action now. Sharp, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Now, quick. Whatever other language you can, however we can articulate all that, do it. Like Tone said. What did Tone say? Tone said, we are intentional, but we don't take action. Ngozi has added to Tone's statement. We are intentional, we take action, and we take it expeditiously. Thank you so much, Anyeka. I'm going to stop here. Thank you to everyone who's on. Thank you for listening. Thank you for accepting me in my words. Sorry about that, but I want you to get it. I love you guys, and hopefully Anyeka will invite me back again.
Well, Ngozi, thank you very much. I know you, and I know the reality of what you're talking about, and that's the joy of this. So it's not fluff, and I stay away from that. It's practical, it's down to earth, it's touchable, it's real.